When planning for learning at the lesson level, we always need to start by selecting that standard that will really lead the learning, that target learning that we want to accomplish as a result of this lesson. Now, this lesson may end up becoming more than one day. We're planning for learning for this particular leading standard. So the next question we need to ask is, are there any other standards within this unit that I can partner with this leading standard to really increase the rigor and the connections that I'm building in this lesson? Are there perhaps any skills that I might need to touch on, maybe in the introduction section of this lesson, to help kind of build my kids up and get them ready for the meat of this lesson? And then the last question I need to ask is, what process skills will those kids need to be able to engage in order to master this leading standard? So let's switch over to forethought and look at how we would go through these steps in that system and the kind of thinking, the kind of questions we might ask ourselves as we do that. When I come into my forethought lesson planner, I'm ready to plan a writing workshop lesson for my 4th grade English Language Arts section. I'll also be planning a reading workshop lesson, though I won't do that in this video. Right now I really want to focus on what writing do my kids need to engage in? What am I responsible for teaching them this 6 weeks? So I want to look ahead at the second 6 weeks and focus on, let's see what writing I'm responsible for this 6 weeks. I know we'll be engaging in the writing process here, planning, drafting, revising, and editing. It looks like the genre that's a focus here would be expository and procedural text. We'll need to write compositions with central ideas. We'll need some supporting sentences and concluding statements. And it looks like we'll also need to be responding to literary or expository texts. I think that would be a really great standard to partner with reading so that the students can practice this form of expository writing as they're reading. Right now, though, I want to focus on my leading writing standard. So I'm just getting started with this unit. I know we're going to be writing expository. I want to zoom in just a little bit to help you read these standards over here. Okay, so my first leading standard, I'm thinking with writing an expository and procedural text to communicate ideas and information to specific audiences for specific purposes. The first thing the kids are going to need to do is come up with that central idea in a topic sentence that will end up leading the rest of their composition. So we'll be creating a brief composition, and for this lesson I want to focus on the supporting standard here for the readiness standard of writing this composition. First, we'll need to focus on developing that central idea in a topic sentence. So the next question I want to ask myself is there another standard, perhaps in oral and written conventions? I know I'm responsible for that strand too. Is there some oral and written convention standard that would work really well with helping the students create these central ideas in topic sentences? Let's take a look at the oral and written conventions for this 6 weeks. We've got certain parts of speech we need to make sure we understand. We need to use complete sentences, complete predicate in a sentence. We need to use complete simple and compound sentences with correct subject-verb agreement. You know, I'm really thinking that a student's central idea, I could help them make that more effective if they could write that in a compound sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and partner this standard so that we can work on our ability to write simple sentences and then also compound sentences that have proper subject-verb agreement while we're working on our central idea in a topic sentence. This will enhance both standards by partnering them together. So what process skill would we really be focused on at this point in the lesson when we're first beginning to develop these sentences. I think in the writing process, let me come back up to the writing process here. We're really at that first step at this point in the lesson where we're starting to plan a draft. We need to generate ideas through a range of strategies. I'm going to, want my kids maybe talking with one another to help them brainstorm, using graphic organizers to help them come up with what their answer is, what is their central idea in response to a prompt that I give them perhaps. So this will be my process skill that will really help me focus on what the kids need to be doing so that they will be able to write this really effective sentence that not only demonstrates their ability to establish a central idea in a topic sentence, but it will also help them to use, and for this lesson I want to help them focus on using compound sentences that have correct subject-verb agreement, because that will help them have more effective central ideas. And in the process of doing so, they will be engaged in that first phase of the writing process where they're generating ideas. So I've now established my leading standard. I've partnered it with an oral and written convention standard to enhance this writing standard. And then I've identified the process skills I really want to focus on helping my kids with so that they will ultimately be able to demonstrate to me that they can compose a topic sentence with their central idea using compound sentences with correct subject-verb agreement.